Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Shortly after announcing the arrival of the 8th generation Hyundai Sonata and Kona, Hyundai BMW Malaysia surprised us with yet another car launch towards the end of this, well, rather miserable year, and that is the Hyundai Elantra. This is an all-new, refreshed model, and it takes on the Mazda 3, the Honda Civic, and the like. Now, there's only one variant of the 7th generation Elantra that will be offered here in Malaysia, and it is fully imported from South Korea. This guy carries a retail price of 159,000 ringgit. So that is quite a steep asking price, and it goes right up against the CBU Mazda 3. Much like its largest sibling, the Elantra is also designed based on the sensuous sportiness design philosophy. You know, you get a lot of sharp lines all around the car, and it's even more pronounced here than on the Sonata. Up front, as you can see, it gets this really big parametric jewel design grille. It's massive, and I think it is the biggest grille in its segment. And regardless of your color of choice, it will all come with this dark chrome finish. And the same applies to this big piece of dark chrome trim around the lower apron. There is an air curtain that's housed inside this really angular, well, housing, if you can call it that. So yeah, pretty intense, huh? As for the lights, these are bi-LED units. The one on the outermost, well, there are 3 projection units, and the one on the outermost is actually for the low beam. The 2 inner ones are for the high beam. Well, it's not full LED units because, as you can see here, it has the turn indicator in the form of a bulb. So there you have it. Around the side, it sits on 17-inch wheels wrapped with 225/45 profile Kumho X-Star tires. So it's nice to see that a Korean tire brand is back on a Korean car. It's been a while since we've seen that. The wheel design is actually a little bit controversial. I find it to be a little bit too busy for my liking, but it is a 5-spoke unit with 2 tones. So I think it's different. As for the SmartStream engine, SmartStream technology badge, it's found on both sides of the fender. It's regarding the engine, which we will get to in a minute. Other things I should point out are these power folding side mirrors with the integrated LED turn signals, fairly standard door handles, and opens and closes with a nice thud. The keyless entry though, it's a button type, so it's a little bit old school, not so nice here. Below that, this is something you guys would have seen in the launch photos because this is by far the most striking sight, no pun intended, of the car. It has these 3 lines to form like an arrow shape. It really sticks out depending on the color of your choice. I'm not feeling it, but you guys might, to each their own. Moving towards the back, you get this sloping roof line sort of a thing. It's got a semi-fastback 4-door coupe look going for it. The shark fin antenna is black, so a little bit of a contrast for all variants. At the back is where things get a little bit wilder. I actually kind of like this section of the car the most. I think it's the most flattering side of the car. And it is attributed by a few factors. Number one, this really large ducktail spoiler sort of a thing. It's like the Sonata, it's got this deep kink and it makes the car look a little bit more futuristic. Notice this black panel over here. It's actually just here to create the impression that it's got a bigger glass house and it's part of a design thing. So this comes in black, just don't change the color because otherwise you're gonna mess up the way the car looks. Anyway, other things that I like are stuff like the LED taillights. These are a continuous design, so it's very distinct when you see it on the road, as well as this boot release here, some Elantra script, as well as 4 reverse sensors. Now, I don't know why they didn't choose to hide the camera somewhere a little bit more obscure, like maybe down here. But you know what they chose to hide? The actual exhaust pipe. You can't find any because it's right down here, and all you get is like this really dark chrome sort of a really angular bumper, and that's pretty much it. For the cabin, I am once again very impressed with what the Koreans have done with their modern cars lately. This is definitely better looking than a lot of its Japanese counterparts, the price notwithstanding. And for once, I am glad that you have a non-black option. So you've got the typical black, of course, and this is the light gray, almost white looking two-tone cabin. Now, the two-tone finish is actually for the seats and part of the trim. You've got like black section right over there, and then this gray section goes all the way until you find this really nice darker gray fabric on all 4 door panels actually, and it just elevates the whole look of the car. And what's even nice is that you've got dual digital displays. Now for the driver, before I get ahead of myself, I want to run you through this. It's a really nice 2-spoke leather steering wheel, and it has all these buttons for your audio control and your safety systems, and they all feel very nice, very tactile. This screen is a 10.25, so 10.25 inch LCD display. It looks great, but what doesn't look so great is the bezel around it looks cheaper than it's just not that premium looking. It reminds me of the Kia Seltos a little bit, but it is what it is. Over to the middle, you get this 8-inch audio-visual display. This is a slightly downsized version of the global launch unit that we saw that was 10-inch display. But here, it is touchscreen. It is also pretty responsive. The UI is pretty straightforward, nothing fancy and all that. And I guess it's pretty standard definition, almost HD-ish. You've also got these buttons to help you navigate the whole UI a little bit more easy. But that's pretty much it. Further down here, you've got your horizontal air vent design. This is popularized by brands like Audi and Volkswagen, so it's okay, I guess, for Hyundai to adopt this design. It doesn't look as bad or garish. And further down here, you've got dual zone climate control as well as your heated steering wheel function, so that's nice, although I don't imagine us using that. What's even nicer is that you've got this perforated leather seats, right? You've got ventilation and heating function with 3 modes, so 3 varying intensities. Elsewhere, you've got dual USB charging ports. One is actually to pair your phone for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So again, no wireless function here. It has to be connected via a cable. There is also a 12-volt socket and a Qi wireless charging tray. So that is properly nice. What I like even better is the shift action on the transmission. It's very smooth. This feels properly expensive. And then you've got drive mode selector, which also changes the graphical interface of the digital instrument panel here. It's all right, neat trick. You've got electric parking brake with auto hold assist. And check this out, variable cup or variable cubby. So if you have a shorter beverage, you just flip it over. So, you know, it doesn't go in too deep. And if you have like a taller beverage, it goes all the way in, so that is quite cool. Oh, one more thing before I go to the back. This circular rounded panel here on the right, this is actually for the drive mode button for the Elantra N. This is obviously not the Elantra N, so it is blank, but I think you can put a phone mount here and cover it up for good. The seat is also an 8-way adjustable seat, but the front passenger is all manual. Damn, I love the seats though. Nice, comfy too. Okay, let's check out the back seats. At the back, leg room is fairly decent. It is not quite as spacious as the Honda Civic, because that is by far and away the most spacious sedan in its class. But having said that, this being a fastback-esque design, it is not so bad. My headroom is pretty okay. Shoulder space feels good, and the seats are comfortable. And before I forget, I am about 172 cm, so the back is a really comfortable place for me to be in actually. But note that unlike the Honda Civic, which has padding that go all the way to the side, this is hard plastic, so just bear that in mind. Other things I like is the fact that they continue to use the fabric here on the back of the head restraint, as well as the seat back, and like I mentioned earlier, the door panels here. So it creates a really nice 3-tone sort of a look, and I really appreciate Hyundai for doing that. Another plus side is that you've got twin air vents here, and Unlike normal cars, this actually feels like you've got proper airflow coming here. It's almost as strong, if not just as strong, as the airflow on the front vents. So this is a great thing to have, especially in Malaysia. No vents in the B pillars, and other than that, I just want to say that it's got this center armrest, appropriately tall, with two cubbies, as well as a 60/40 rear split configuration. So yeah, that is pretty much it. As standard, the car comes with this smart trunk release, and all you've got to do is just walk up to the rear of the car with your hands full, for example, wait for 3 to 5 seconds, and then the boot will release on its own. This is a handy feature, but I sort of wish that there was a swipe or a kick to swipe function for easier access. Once the boot is open, it reveals up to 474 liters of space. It's not class leading per se, but it is pretty sizable enough. Under the bonnet, we get a 1.6 liter Smart Stream 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. This engine makes about 123 PS and 154 Newton meters of torque. And it is considered a downgrade in my books because the previous generation Elantra came with a more palatable 2-liter naturally aspirated engine, as well as a 1.6 turbo engine in the Elantra Sport. Drive is sent to the front wheels via a CVT, or as Hyundai likes to call it, the IVT, which stands for Intelligent Variable Transmission. It has 8 virtual speeds, but there are no pedal shifters because it's a CVT, so that makes gear shifting a little bit redundant. For performance, this guy does the 0 to 100 in 10.4 seconds and would top out at 196 kilometers per hour. Now, those numbers are not great by any measure, but this is meant to be a more fuel-efficient car, hence the Smart Stream badge. So it has a combined fuel efficiency of 5.6 liters per 100 kilometer. Not too shabby in my books. But for those of you who want a little bit more power down the road, let's just hope that HSDM will bring in the Elantra N-Line with the 1.6 liter TGDI turbo engine with 200 horsepower. But for now, you're stuck with this port injection mill. And last but not least, let us talk about safety. This is where I find the kit list to be a little bit of a redeeming factor, especially for the price that you're paying. So it's got stuff like adaptive cruise control, autonomous emergency braking, lane centering assist. The smart cruise control or active cruise control has braking and acceleration, and it comes to a full stop, as well as cyclist and pedestrian detection. So it's got quite a comprehensive kit of safety systems. It even has like blind spot monitoring and collision avoidance system, rear cross traffic alert. So you are getting a lot, probably even more than a Honda Civic, plus 6 airbags and 2 ISOFIX child seats, anchoring points for the outer rear seats. So it's pretty comprehensive, and like I said, if you value safety, this might be it. Before I close off, you've got 4 color options to choose from. This is intense blue. I think it's really nice. And then you've also got polar white, Amazon gray, and a special like Nardole grayish take, which is called electric shadow. You might also fancy that because it goes well with the two-tone color scheme. Now, each purchase comes with a 5-year or 300,000 kilometer warranty coverage, and that's pretty much standard for HSDM cars. I think that will be it for this walk around. I don't want to drag on because it's getting pretty long. So let us know what you think of the video below. For a more comprehensive report on the car, you may log on to paultan.org. We've got the full report and gallery. And so yeah, now that you've seen the car in this video, what do you think? Let us know below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. So bye-bye.
It sound right, boy.